Yeah. What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday. It is time for a brand new it is time for a brand new episode of Doc Talk, a very live show. So when I mess up, you get to hear it all. We've assembled a new team of Jackson Kayak Avengers here for you tonight to give you all the skinny on a little bit of kayak fishing. So let's get this thing started. Welcome back, everybody. Again, it is Thursday, Tuesday, when live show. It's a very live show. We're going to go around the room, introduce our panel for tonight, and let you guys hear about who's all in the house. We will start with Mr. Rudy down in the lower left-hand corner.
What's up, everybody? Rudy Yarworth, Jackson Kayak Northeast Regional Fishing Team, coordinator and guide for the Tangier Sound chapter of Heroes on the Water, and currently tournament director for USA Bassin Jackson Kayak Trail in Maryland for the Potomac and Susquehanna River.
Again, it's a live show. Vicky, welcome to the show. A little bit about you.
I think you're breaking up, Chad, but I'm not sure if you pointed at me or not. But I'm Ram
Vicky's
Garcia.
muted.
I'm part of the National Jackson Kayak team coming out of Corpus Christi. Been kayaking for a couple of years now. It's kind of the only thing I know how to do, and it's kind of weird not to do it on the weekends and stuff. So I just kind of stick to what I know, kayaking and drinking Carbach.
I like it. Vicky, let's hear from you.
Hey guys, I'm on the Jackson regional team here out of Dallas. Work as a nurse most of the time. Otherwise, I am the Adventures of General Hooligan. But yeah, excited to be here tonight.
Very cool, and it is good to have you. So jumping into this thing, last time we talked about rods and reels and baits, and we've talked about fish finders. We've talked about everything underneath the sun. But one of the things that as a team member that we really haven't, team members for Jackson Kayak that we really haven't talked about is how to make your way from just going fishing. How do you get from here to being on like something like a pro staff like Jackson Kayak? How do you find your way and navigate the world of socials and the different things to be found, be discovered, and end up on a team like something like Jackson Kayak? And whoever wants to field this first, don't all jump in at once.
I'll go first because I think I'm probably the rookie here. Really just kind of feeling my way through it. Applied to Jackson, talked with Dustin. He's awesome. Man, it's awesome. I love being on the Jackson team. The kayaks are awesome. And then as far as socials, I just started the YouTube and just kind of winging it. We'll see.
And there ain't nothing wrong with winging it. That's for sure. We're winging this podcast right now with technical difficulties galore. So, Rudy, how about you? How would you advise someone that was looking to up their fishing resume
Well,
to
I would
maybe make
say,
it onto some
first
team?
of all, you just have to be a kayaking fanatic like myself for Jackson's. Um, I've been fishing Jackson kayaks since 2013, and really wanted to be on the team. And I put a couple applications in. I was very persistent, and like promoting kayaking to the community. I do a lot of stuff, volunteering in kayaking community, like for Heroes on the Water, and locally, take folks out when someone says, "Hey, got a place to go fishing." You just got to be um, dedicated to the cause, and obviously, you have to love kayaking. So when I say I'm a fanatic, I think I bought one of the first production Jackson NARS out of Delaware Paddle Sports, and got up there, and lo and behold, Jameson Redding was there, and got to go out and fish a episode of Road Trip Angler out at the outer wall, Delaware River, Cape Penelope. So it was great. So from there, I was kind of really motivated to keep pressing, and just love kayak fishing and kayaking in general. Um, and it does a lot for me as a veteran. So I love to share my fishing spots, share where we're catching them, watching someone new to kayaking land their first striper. So it's just got to be just passionate, I guess. Um, Now, those of you that know me, you just know that I'm pretty much crazy about kayak fishing. So I think I have 8 Jackson kayaks sitting downstairs. I have to figure out which one I'm going to take out each day, but just love it.
Yeah. How about you, Ram?
Hence the shirt.
I think there's got to be a want. I think the most important thing in joining a team is wanting to be part of a team, not just a need to be a part of a team and doing what everybody else is doing, or everybody can be anybody they want on social media, and that's one of the biggest problems that us influencers have, is everybody else getting in the way that's not supposed to be in the way, so to speak. And not to say it mean or anything, but it's you have to be within the lifestyle. You can't just be jumping around, or a new kayak shows up that's another brand and you want to go buy that one, and all of a sudden you want to be part of that team. You have to stick with what's good and what's bad, and stick to your guns, and support what you believe in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that's solid advice. So I do really want to go around the room because a lot of you guys really haven't got to talk about this much. I want to start with Ram. How did you get started into kayak fishing? Like what brought you here and what was the appeal to put you in the kayak for the first time?
Well, I've been kayaking for a little bit over 15 years. And it all started because I couldn't afford a boat, at the time. So my first kayak was a Cobra fish and dive. And at the time it was bad to the bone, and I had to use that black long stick to get me everywhere. And it was it was my means of fishing. It could get me places where I could venture off the water's edge. And I didn't have no idea about social media. At the time, I think it was MySpace, and pushing businesses and companies was far away. And everybody was on MySpace for a different reason. It was picking up chicks and stuff, and you know what I mean. And it was fun, man. And it evolved into something. Okay, well, man, I could do something else with this. I could start making money with shows and stuff, and different products and different mentality. And I grew older, and I kept on kayak fishing, and eventually I could afford a boat, and now I'm buying kayaks that are probably as much as boats are, and it comes with everything I wanted into it. But the want was there, the want was there at the beginning, from using my arms to using my legs and stuff. And I think that's where it evolved for me, where it got easier. Spending a little bit more money got easier fishing. At the beginning it was hard to fish because you had to do a lot more to get there, or you had to do a lot more to set up your own kayaks. At the beginning, they wouldn't come set up as fishing kayaks, and now you could get a fishing kayak ready to go out of the showroom floor.
Very much so. And so you feel like that was just you kind of got here through the passion of just wanting to be on the water.
Yeah. Yeah, the passion was there. Fishing has always been part of my life. My dad would take me, and of course we never had a boat, or we never had kayaks, and we always fished in the off the bays and stuff, off the land. We were more of the fishing people that would take barbecue pits and a nice chest full of drinks and Vienna sausages, and we'd open it, it'd be all frozen, and we'd have to heat it up a little bit before we'd eat them and stuff. But eventually I got old enough to where, okay, uh I need to fish somewhere else, right? Or, man, if I could just get a little bit further, I could reach those boats over there, or why are the boats even in the shallow water, coming closer to us, you know what I mean? And ventured off into the kayak fishing scene, and it just escalated from there. And I started doing that, setting up my kayaks to where it'd be a little bit easier for me to cruise around. And at one point I would just take every single thing I could get, and I'd have 6 rods in the back of my kayak, and I'd have a whole bunch of lures that would never even use, and I would always stick to that one lure I would use. And I do use a motor now, right? I trust my motor, my Torpedo motor. It's always there. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a fishing rod. If I get halfway to my fishing spot and I realize my throttler's not with me, I'm turning back around to go get it, right?
How about you, Vicky? How did
I'm
how
still
did you kind of
paddling
get
and pedaling.
started in the fishing kayak world?
I grew up fishing with my dad, my granddad. We did a lot of bank fishing. So as an adult, I saw a kayak on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, yeah, that's going to get me off the bank. Fished it for a long time, upgraded to the Jackson. Now I have the pedal drive. I'm not cool enough for a motor yet, but soon. Man, I love it though. I love being able to get out into places that I couldn't get before, and yeah, and as a matter of fact, I just recently had my dad here, and we went out on kayaks, and he was like, "Okay, not too bad. I like it."
I'm not cool enough for a motor yet either, but that's just out of personal preference. I've not made the switch. I don't know when it's going to happen or if it'll happen, but not yet. How about you, Rudy? Give us a little backstory on Rudy Yarworth. How'd you find your way to kayak fishing?
Well, when I got out of the military, back in active duty at 97, I think the first thing I bought was actually an Old Town canoe, so I could take my kids fishing with me. That's all I did. Fishing was my escape. I just loved being out there in the nature, walking along the stream, the solitude. So all my kids, they all fish with me. So got this Old Town canoe, started fishing. They grew up, they moved on, they got older, they didn't want to go with dad anymore. And sitting there one day at Hudson Trail Outfitters, and I saw this big tuna sitting there. And let me just tell you, I ended up having a third kid, so I started back over again. And he was little. My wife's like, "Yo, well, if you get something, got to be able to take, Stefan with you. I'm like, okay. So I saw this big tuna, 2 to 1. I was like, what a great kayak. You can take it and make it a single person or a 2 person. So that was my first purchase. And it was great. I mean, he would get out in the front of the boat. We go out, start going fishing. Um, and we fished everywhere from like Western Maryland, rivers, lakes. And then I got a taste of the salt water and it was done. Then I started watching YouTube videos and saw this guy named Jim Salmon. And he's out there catching these monster fish out in these oceans. And I'm like, man, I'm going to upgrade my kayak game. So then I went out and got a Kraken. And because I felt bad about getting the Kraken, I saw this Kusa sitting there. I'm like, well, my wife likes orange. So I got her this Kusa. Well, I probably use it more than she does, but it was a good thought. And that's where the addiction started. And, once you start kayak fishing, canoe fishing was great. Once you start kayak fishing on a sit on top and having all your gear all around you, and, it's like being in a lounge chair out there, sneaking up on your favorite fishing spot. Before the canoe, I was wet wading and trudging through the water and swimming to rocks out in the river. And then that could have been March, so it was kind of cold. The kayak thing was just a whole new game. And then, Yak Attack started making all kinds of cool accessories, and Jackson had cool accessories. Next, I'm like, man, how much more stuff can I fit on this boat? I got to get another boat. I need a boat for this and a boat for that. It's pretty much becomes an obsession. So it's kind of where I am now. I think I've got a boat for everything. Still got the Kusa, got the Kusa X. I got the Jackson Nar, got 2 Krakens. I got a Blue Sky 360. I don't know. Jackson's got to make some more kayaks for me because I need something else to fill in that.
Now, so can any of you go back and when you think about falling in love with kayak fishing, can you go back to like a specific like fish catch or a moment when you went, oh, this is the coolest thing. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, when I got that kayak, that big tuna, we were at Chincoteague, Virginia. It was July. I had we were fishing for croaker, and my son, he didn't want to be on the kayaks. He was fishing from shore, and he saw Dad out there, just one croaker after another. So he weighs me in, switch it to the two seats, and we go paddling off. He's up in the front, and I see something tailing off on the corner. I thought it might have been like a red, so I cast over there. Ended up actually foul hooking a sand tiger, and it took off running. And the tide was coming in. This thing is just pulling us. I'm trying to hold the fishing rod over the front of the kayak. My son, he's about 9 years old, he's just screaming because he sees the dorsal fin come out of the water. He's just thinking Jaws, and the adrenaline rush right there. I was like, man, it's just. And then I started thinking, like, what am I going to do with this shark? I'm going to land it. I got a kid in the boat, so it ended up spooling me, and then we swam back in. We paddled back into to where the ramp was. He quickly got off the kayak, but I was definitely hooked. The adrenaline rush of hooking a big fish on that kayak, getting that sled ride, I was something that you never forget. So just kept looking for that, looking for that next big fish, man.
But the rest of you, any key moment when you look back and you were hooked?
For me, I think it was the time where I didn't see anybody else. And most of the time, you get boat traffic or you get wade fishermen, or now, I mean, it's there's so many kayaks out on the water and media, of course, it's real easy to blow a spot nowadays. But I think back then when I first got into the kayak scene, it was just being able to get away, to where you could look either direction and there wouldn't be anybody, and you could actually hear what the water's doing. And you could see what's in the water, and you could see an area way over there, and you could see fish over there, and you're the only thing that could get to it. There's not going to be a boat coming behind you or a wait fisherman, because it's going to be neck deep in some mud if he tries to go over there wherever you're at. But I think it was just able to get away, go get to spots to where not everybody else could.
How about you, Vicky?
I second that. That is exactly what happened. I got the kayak. I had found a spot on the map that I was like, man, this would be a really great spot. It was really shallow. There was a little waterfall coming off. I knew boats couldn't get back there. And then there really wasn't a way to walk back there. And I caught my first PB, like a 5-pounder. And from bang fishing, that was a way giant PB for me. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I need to be doing.
That's awesome. It's fun to hear how, everybody's got different stories, and I think that's what makes it really unique and interesting, how people find fishing, whether it's family love or just the adventure side of it. And everybody here fishes different. Ram is a salt guy, Rudy's a mix. Vicky, you're more freshwater. I'm more freshwater. And then we see stuff like today. I don't know. Did any of you guys see the video that we posted from our sales rep Spencer today, where he's like out there doing whitewater stuff in the Coosa X? Rudy's like, no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, I did see that, and it's pretty amazing what that kayak can do. I'm
No, it
wondering
really
if
is.
I hope Warranty wasn't watching what he was doing on that kayak.
Oh, Warranty loves it. Warranty loves it. I can promise you that.
Right.
So moving forward, like, what do you guys got coming up the rest of the year for you all? I know, Rudy, you've got some big things coming up with the trail. Ram, you've got podcast stuff coming up, big things. So let's talk a little bit about that. You guys share kind of, what you have coming up in the world of Jackson Kayak and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I got a couple things going on. I got some tournaments coming up. The Elite Series coming to South Padre. I think I'll be traveling to that. I got a couple trips lined up. Freshwater, actually, trips. Guadalupe bass is on the menu to catch. I've never caught one. I'm I don't think I have ever caught one. I have freshwater fished before, but I wasn't too successful doing it. I think the want isn't there. But it's definitely on the menu for this year to travel to up north a bit from where I'm at, Corpus Christi, to get into the freshwater scene. And of course, my podcast, Spooled Life Live, is on Facebook and YouTube. I got that lined up. We're pretty much booked up for the year, and it's going good, man. I get excited. Of course, I always get nervous. I don't even know. I'm nervous right now every time I'm behind the microphone. I've been doing this stuff for years, and I still get nervous.
Is it different
I'm
being
trying
on
to
this
get.
side
I'm
of it where
trying to
you're
get a. What's
getting
that?
interviewed? Is it different being on this side where you're getting interviewed opposed to doing the
Yeah,
interviewing?
yeah, it definitely is. It's kind of nerve wracking because I don't know what's coming next, right? And now I can imagine how my guests feel because uh it's live, and you have no idea what Chad Brock's going to ask you, and you really don't have time to prepare for a live show, and it is kind of weird being on this side. It's kind of cool too, but you're getting the facts, and people can tell if you're not being factual on a live show. But y'all check it out, Spooled Life Live. We give a whole bunch of stuff away. We have some of the top guests. Uh, I know we have the option to give away some Orion stuff, right? Percentage. We might be doing that. This coming show on Saturday is our next show. Cruise in to Spooled Life Live on Facebook and check it out.
What about you, Rudy? What do you got coming up for the remainder of 2023?
So Saturday we'll be going to Potomac River, fish stop 4 of the USA Bass and Jackson Kayak Trail, and it looks like we didn't get too much rain, so hopefully will not be doing whitewater in the Coosa X while trying to fish. I think that was stop number 2 when we had to do that. So we got 2 more events in the Potomac, and we got 2 more events for the Jackson Kayak Trail, USA Bassin on the Conowingo. In September, I'll be fishing a big charity tournament on the Chesapeake Bay called the Tangier Classic. So if you're up in Maryland and you want to fish, Ram, if you want to come fish for some red drum and big trout in Maryland instead of down there in Corpus Christi, you can come on up and fish the Tangier Classic. It's a charity tournament. All the proceeds go to help out a family with a child in need, with medical issues and stuff like that. So it's a great thing. I'll also be signing up for the Jim Dolan tournament for Heroes on the Water, fishing that. And then hopefully in October, I'll be coming out to Kentucky Lake to fish the USA Bass and big event, the big game. And then we have a couple Heroes on the Water events, September 9th up in Salisbury, and then October 8th over in Blackwater, home of the great and famous Northern Snakehead. So if you ever fish for those, that pretty much wraps it up. Unless we got.
For those that don't know, there is a couple yard worse in the top 10 in the USA Bassins points. One of them just happens to be you. Looks like you're number 7 in the overall nation of USA Bassins. So congratulations on that one. How do you feel? What's been your experience with the USA Bassin Trail thus far, Rudy, as a director and in being part of the Jackson team? Do you feel like it's been a good turnout, and do you feel like you guys have had fun? Do you see it as a potential thing to grow that you're looking forward to?
It's been great. Met a lot of great people. For me, like bass fishing tournaments, this is kind of like my first year. I fished a lot of brackish water and saltwater tournaments. So I pretty much took the tournament director spot, jumped in with both feet, started fishing for the greenfish, right, and ended up catching the bronze fish. But it's been interesting working with Matt Campbell. He helps me out, especially on the Conowingo side. He's a tough guy to beat when you're fishing with him. He's always putting up big numbers. But it's great. My son Joshua, he assisted tournament directs with me, and it's been fun. I met a lot of great anglers. A lot of them fish some other tournaments or looking for something local to do, to kind of keep fishing the water and keep in practice. And it's just great, the community of guys that you meet with, hearing the stories when you wrap up at the award ceremony. Everyone tells about the one that got away, or the conditions they had to deal with, or the bite, or how hard it was. And the secret spot, everyone tries to kind of keep it down on the down low where they were catching them. But it's definitely fun. It's interesting. I know one thing, I haven't really slept much. I don't know, whatever kind of tournament it is, I don't know. You're always up to like 1 o'clock in the morning messing with stuff, thinking you're going to forget something. And then when you get up at 3 in the morning to go roll anywhere, you realize you only slept like 2 hours, if you slept at all. Then you're going to go out on the water all day and do that. So usually after the tournament's over, I'll probably come home and crash for a while. But I think that's all part of the tournament game, and just the excitement of it all, that pregame stuff. But the tournament director thing's been great. It's the first time doing it. Little guarded at first, wasn't sure what I was getting into, but next thing you know, I'm starting a second trail. So talking to people now, trying to figure out where else they want to do something, trying to recruit some people to do some other events locally, so we can have a couple different locations. So it looks like we might be able to do something with that next year. Look forward to 2024.
Yeah, and it's good to see you've got you're going to have several, it looks like, qualified with with 2 different divisions going on, several qualified to make it down to Kentucky Lake.
You got room for me out there?
Plenty. Come on. I'll be there. I won't get to fish it, but I will be on hand. I just don't get, no matter how good I do in the points or anything, I just don't get to fish it. So it's just part of it. How about you, Vicky? What do you got coming up for the rest of 2023?
So for the rest of this year, I'm going to be concentrating on some YouTube content. A lot of these monthly tournaments, the KBF, but I'm super excited. I want to try the USA next year. I definitely want to get on that. But for this year, I'm going to finish out with some of the monthly tournaments and see if I can get some content and just fish. That's pretty much, if I'm not working, I'm fishing.
I hear that. So yeah, you guys have got the East Texas Trail going on. Lance McWhorter, which has been on the podcast before. Yeah, so that'll be a great group for you to get into. Ram, you ought to go up and fish with those folks. Um, let's see. Ram, why don't you ask some questions to the guests for a second? I got a comment that I got to make to my marketing team. Hold on just 1 second. Ram, you're the new host for a minute.
Nope, I was muted. It's live. I forgot. All right, I'm in charge now, everybody. I'm just kidding. Man, I'm having a little bit of trouble. I was reading some comments and I was trying to respond, but it's not letting me. So I'm sorry. Uh, Mr. Murphy, Chris Murphy on the Elite Kayak Tournament, the next stop in Port Arthur. I won't be making that one. I have an online tournament that I'm involved with that I'm doing, and I've already had some arrangements of where we're gonna fish for that. I guess we could have fished both, but I'm not too sure. What do y'all think about online tournaments? Is the USA Bass tournament an online tournament, or is it like a live where everybody brings in their fish and everybody gets to see exactly what you have an official weighmaster there and all that stuff? Or is it a specific um just for online, or also is the USA Bass tournament ever going to come to the Salt, and is there going to be like a USA Redfish series? I hope I don't get anybody pissed off for saying that. I always try to bring the saltwater stuff because I feel like us saltwater guys, especially the Jackson Kayak team, there's not many of us here in the South. I can count them with when I say South, I mean like Houston area down to South Padre. There's not many of us. I could count them with one hand probably, and if I could count them with two, I'm sorry I missed you all, but I think I could count everybody with one hand. Do y'all think that would be a good idea to get like a round trip with the USA? You get points fishing for the bass, you get points fishing for redfish, and then at the end you get a big party where we get a whole bunch of pizza, and everybody's eating pizza and drinking beer and everybody gets to meet each other and stuff. What do y'all think about that?
Well, your first question, USA Bass and tournament is CPR through 20X. So it's a single body of water. Go out there, you catch your 5 fish, check them into your creel using the 20X app, and obviously the 5 fish stringer wins. But I do like your comment about the redfish because I do love the salt water. See behind me, I live on the fishing grounds, so definitely like to see that. I'll have to come down there and fish with you someday, Ram. See what the red. I guess you catch redfish down there like we catch striper up here in the Chesapeake. But so I'll check
Yeah, we
this
do
out.
catch a whole bunch of redfish over here. That's more of the predominantly more of the tournament scene down here is redfish till you get to the colder months. Oh wow. Till you get to the colder
That was
months, and then you transition to trout fishing, and that's where I say the elites are, right? Because then you're dealing with the boaters. There's not too many boat tournaments where they let us play with them because it's always a shotgun start, and that's really not too fair, right? But there is some trout tournaments where it's uh it's fish wherever you want, and that's where they let us do our thing and show our worth in the fishing community.
Yeah, so I think, kind of half listening, but when you think about the where you were saying the online CPR for bass fishing, like you guys bring in the redfish and whatnot. I think that's interesting. I don't know if bass fishing is quite ready for it yet, as far as being able to get the fish back and release them live. And guys, I think too, in this statement are they're loading their boats down really heavy. With lots of gear, motors, batteries, and bass guys are tackle junkies. First things first. I mean, on that, we carry probably 50 pounds of tackle or more with us at all times, and that's just in our crate. That's not our soft plastic bags and different things like that. And the way that the soft plastics add up, because you got to have every color in the rainbow. I think you get into some what we call a little bit of a weight problem, as far as the amount of gear that you're taking on any vessel, for that matter, as far as the kayaks go. So to have like a cooler, like I know Dustin has the big cooler. I don't know what you have, Ram, but he has the big cooler that he'll put on the front of his U-pick and cart his fish back, with that to do the wet live weigh in. I just don't know I don't know if we're there in bass fishing yet to really be able to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have fished with a couple of guys that have the whole cooler set up on their kayak. I don't. I usually drag mine around. I have a culling stringer that I've modified a stinky patch stringer to be a culling stringer, and I've had I've been pretty successful with it. I haven't had any redfish die during a tournament. And of course, we're babying them and stuff, and we do stop and we let them swim around for a little bit and revive themselves. That sounds kind of bad, that what we're putting them redfish through, but I do drag mine, right? Uh, I try to stay away from all the weight that a cooler brings to the kayak. I guess it's either or. You risk your redfish dying, you risk winning some good money. You know what I mean? I do have a cooler, but it's in the truck, right? And it's got air, and it's got special stuff you put inside the water to make your fish a little bit livelier. But no, I drag my fish, unfortunately, for the poor redfish.
So, as far as online tournaments go, um, do you guys? I mean, I know Vicky. I think we've talked about this with you before. You got online tournaments. I think are a great way to start fishing. To kind of break the barrier of, I think in bass fishing, when you're putting those fish on the board and in that tedious moment where it is a little bit stressful and it does take some time to get used to it. I do think online tournaments are good in that sense. But I don't think, I think long term, I think there's nothing like getting out there and messing up with your buddies, and it's fun. I mean, you guys all know it's neat to get out there and beat your buddy. I mean, see the disappointment on his face or him see the disappointment on your face. I think that's a good time. It's kind of always a little bit of a tournament within the tournament within your peer group on who's going to win. So that is always fun. But as far as online tournaments go, do you guys feel like that those are good stepping stones for anglers? And what would you tell a new angler that is looking to start fishing? Would you start them there, or would you want them to come out and go ahead and fish, the big time?
Yeah,
I think
I mean, I think online tournaments are a good way to get started because you get used to using the app. You're not as pressured, you know, trying to get there with the lines in, lines out, worried about looking at the leaderboard because you're fishing with so many people on the online tournament. It's usually a more pace yourself way to do it. Go into your familiar body of water that you're going to go fish for, whether it's bass or brackish water fish. Um, I think it's a good way to get started, and then you'll transition over to something like the USA Bass and Trail, and then work your way up to if you want to go travel across the country and VRBO it. So I think it's a good way to transition, and then see like when you think you have a lot of gear and you get to the ramp on that the next step and you see that guy that's got the power pole set up with twin 10-inch fish finders and a torpedo motor, and you're like, man, how do you compete with that guy? But it's always good to see the guy that paddled come in and win the tournament. So um, it's definitely something about that part of it, that camaraderie and competitiveness that's like real time versus online. Um, but online was a great way to get started.
And that guy pedaling or using manpower wins quite a bit, actually. For those that follow the trails, I think they see that pretty often. It does happen on a regular basis. Somebody that's out there human powered does get the W. Now, big week in the fishing industry. I know you guys have been tuned in. I'm sure you have. ICAST. ICAST is the big thing. Yeah, everybody's talking about it. All the influencers are out there flaunting their photos and seeing some of the new items. Is there anything that you guys have seen in your genre from ICAST that you're just like, that I'm gonna buy that when it comes out? Any hot new items?
I think there's very few new items that come out of ICAST, and I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people, but uh, I don't know how to say it nicely. But I don't
There's only
think
so many
it
ways
is
you can make
cool,
a crawl.
right? ICAST is cool, right? If especially if you're in the fishing community, you want to go over there, you want to make your presence known, right? You want to support the companies that you work for, right? You got to put in your time. It's not just free, nothing's free in this world. But a lot of the companies go over there and they don't have new stuff. It's I feel like ICAST to be ICAST, they should tell them, okay, if you want to get a booth, what do you bring into what do you bring into the fishing community, right? Or what's next, right? Not just have a whole bunch of stuff that's on top of the table and we've been seeing it for years and years and stuff. And I want to see something new. Not necessarily something that's freshly out or uh technology that has already been released, years ago. I want to see something that's going to benefit the angler, or that's something that nobody has seen before. That's what I want to see out of ICAST. But going back to the online tournaments, mostly most of the time the online tournaments are cheaper, right? So it's good to jump in on a on an online tournament, especially if you don't know the ins and outs of a live tournament. You get into an online tournament and you get the feel for what everybody's doing. And then I read a comment earlier. You get to meet people as well. There could be like a team event, a live team event tournament, and you just met a whole bunch of people on your online tournament, and you get to, now you have somebody to fish with, right? A little bit more, you get a little bit more intimate with the tournament scenes.
I think, I would agree with you a little bit, Ram. I think, that there's, when you look at ICAST, innovation in certain things is hard to see anymore. Like I said, there's only so many ways that you can make a crawfish. There's only so many ways that you're going to make a Cinco. Before long, it all starts looking the same. I think where your innovation comes from is materials. Obviously, different materials do different things, and that's something that can be innovative. And then I think electronic items, software is changing. Obviously, live items, the live fish finders, they keep getting better and better. But what's the next evolution? I think that's a great way to look at it. You always want to see stuff moving along, moving further, and I have to agree with you, man. I do. I think sometimes it's hard to look at and go, it's a frog. I mean, that's just all there is to it. How do you guys feel about it, Rudy and Vicky?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I think there needs to be more innovations for, you know, when I do Heroes in the Water, you see like Wounded Warriors and stuff like that. Things to make, kayaking more accessible to other folks that may have other needs. Like basically bringing other folks into the kayaking world, making it like if I have a torpedo motor, um, obviously I'm gonna need to, if I've lost a leg or something like that, I might have to steer with my hands and run the motor. Coming up with innovations like that, I would like to see a little more of. And as far as things that I would get that are at ICAST, well, probably the new Yak Attack cart. I do put a lot of stuff on my thing. They came out before ICAST, just recently, but having a dependable cart to get me to the water with all the stuff that I'm packing in there, like you said, Chad, is we carry a lot of stuff we don't need. I don't know how many times I go out there with 50, 60 pounds of gear and probably throw the same two things all day long and realize I just brought it along for the ride. But you never know when you might need it. That might be the make or break. Oh, they're biting the
I say the
purple
same
wiggle.
thing, Rudy. You never know. You never
But
know.
but it is good to get out there and see what everyone's putting. You can look through the internet. You're not going to see what everyone thinks their hot item is. So I'd like to go to iCache just to see what everyone's pushing out there. I mean, I see the NRS boats and the hybrid kayak raft, um, solo boats, SUPs. It makes you kind of wonder when you're a tournament director. If it's a kayak fishing tournament, where does the definition of kayak stop and start with all these innovations on different types of craft that they call watercraft, that this is a kayak or this is a SUP and this is it's kind of good to see that where that definition and where that's getting bent and changed to with the different innovations, whether you're trying to get in that shallow water or not.
What about you, Vicky? As somebody that's still learning, still new to the sport, do you see? I mean, do you still see the innovation in something like iCast? I mean, is there stuff that stands out to you?
So I kind of get what you guys are saying. Only so many crawls out there. But I think it's the socialization, the seeing people, seeing the different companies, all the cool stuff that they have. Like I have been watching iCast, you know, all day, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I go? I mean, this just seems like the best time to meet people, talk about what I use, talk about what you use. Maybe it's the same design, but how do you use it? How do you what colors? I just think it would be an awesome time.
And it is. It is a. as far as being there around the folks on the floor and seeing it. It's one of those things that I wish everybody could see, everybody could go do, because it is special as far as getting to see all the people that you've met over the years, getting to catch up with old friends, going out to dinner, if you want to call it that. And it's really monumental as far as that goes. And building that network, you see a lot of the business items go down too. You get to see dealers placing their orders. You get to see pro anglers making their deals, that it's going to carry them and feed their family. I mean, you see all that go down, and it's really neat. You see the inside and outside of the fishing industry. Yeah, and you see some disappointment, from an angler that doesn't get that deal, or a company that, some angler. I've seen an angler come to a booth and the company said, "Well, we just can't really do much for you." And he's like, "Well, I really like the product," and then they can't come to an agreement. So the disappointment sometimes goes both ways on that kind of stuff, and it's really neat to see. Let's see. Not seeing any questions from the audience here. Um, so as we kind of close out here tonight, I kind of want to give you guys the opportunity to tell folks where to find you guys on social media, and also tell folks, how to come in contact with you. Thank the sponsors that you need to thank, all that fun stuff. And whoever wants to go first can go.
You can find me on social media, Ram Garcia on Facebook, The Spooled Life on Instagram, and Spooled Life Live on my podcast, right? We give a whole bunch of stuff away, like I said earlier on the show. It's a lot of information that comes from our guests, and we have fun. I want to thank Roy's Bait and Tackle for sure. I want to thank Jackson Kayaks as well. I think without without our sponsors, it'd be a lot. It'd be a lot of funding coming out of your bank accounts. Like I said, it ain't free. You put in the work, and if you could have fun while doing it, it all makes it worth it. Sarge Custom Rods, Daiwa Reels. I know I'm gonna forget some. Sims Fishing Gear, Sarge Custom Rods. Man, I'm already forgetting. You see how nervous I get. Uh, Screws into my page, Ram Garcia on Facebook. I give a shout out to all my sponsors. I represent them well. Z Pro lithium batteries, right? That's another one. Corpus Christi Sea Tow. They'll help you out when you get in a bind out in the water. Yeah, just go to my page. Go to my pages. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We're on YouTube as well. Spooled Life Live. And I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Vicky.
Basically, Vicky White on all social media. Also, The Adventures of General Hooligan, really just starting it out. So, some of the YouTube videos are a little rocky, but we're getting there. It's all fishing. Yeah, really, so far, Jackson Kayak and the Kistler rods, reels. They're awesome. Love them so far. Yeah, other than that, like Ram said, please like, subscribe. We're just out here having fun.
Rudy.
Well, Kayak Rudy on Instagram or Rudy Arworth on Facebook. If you want to come out and fish Heroes on the Water and be a guide for any of my events out here in Maryland on the Chesapeake and around the area, it's a Tangier Classic at Heroes on the Water, or Tangier Sound chapter of Heroes on the Water. If you want to come fish USA Bassin, Jackson Kayak Trail, it's MDJK Trail on Facebook page, and you can find the events there. As far as sponsors, I'm dedicated to Jackson Kayak, man. That's all I got. I love you guys. And local companies like Yak Attack down in Virginia for making great products to take my money so I can rig up my kayaks with all my Jackson accessories and Yak Attack stuff. They're great. Local sponsors, Delaware Paddle Sports, great kayak shop, tax-free shopping. They'll deliver anywhere. They got everything you need, and they support our USA Bass and Jackson Kayak Trail, making it possible to grow that. And a small little veteran-owned fishing company, tactical fishing company out of Frederick. Andrew's jumped in there to also sponsor our events and kind of spice it up a little bit for people who are winning. Since we don't get a lot of people, it's good to give out a few prizes to go with that cash, and everyone likes that. So, just get in there, check us all out on social media, and let's get on the water, man. Catch some fish. That's where you'll find me.
I like it. So, as always, here with the Jackson Kayak Doc Talk, we got to thank Jackson Kayak and Orion Coolers. If you're looking for an Orion cooler, you can save 5% Orion Rocks on the website right now, today. Head over to the website, find your local Jackson Kayak dealer, find you an Orion cooler, and join us. Also, Z Pro Lithium, just like Graham, they're powering us through the Orion podcast adventures this summer, and we are grateful to them. They're a great group of knowledgeable people. If you got any questions about their batteries, hit them up. They'll get you taken care of. Cast King rods and reels, absolutely dialed in on that stuff. Loving it this year. So big shout out to those guys. Check out the iReel that they just released here at iCast. Hooks up to your smartphone, gives you all kinds of stats that you didn't even know you wanted, so you can over analyze yourself on every single cast you make. It'll be fun, and you're probably going to learn something. So also, thanks to Pasco Fishing for some long sleeve threads that keep us from getting burned up too bad out on the water. Sometimes you end up with 3 tan lines like me. You got a short sleeve, a long sleeve, and a cutoff sleeves tan line. So you got 3 shades of Chad going on. But yeah, so thanks to all the people that help us out. We appreciate every one of you. Check us out, Jackson Kayak Fishing on the gram and on the threads now. We're on the threads, so get on the threads, engage with us, comment, like, sub, do what you got to do. Check out this episode and all the others on Spotify. And we will see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.